I hope you had a really great time doing that. I hope you shared some epic sermon teaching times and little outlines with someone and were able to encourage them that way. I wanted to share with you what mine would be. I want to share that with everyone because I found some good stuff when I was studying that I thought it was worth sharing. And I won't take a lot of time on this, honestly, but if I was going to do a sermon, I don't know how many of you know the characters, and I'll put that on the screen here. The characters for that saying that He is greater than my ups and downs, God is greater than my ups and downs. I think that would probably be my sermon title. I don't know if I would do it exactly like that, but my thought process looking at this is that Joseph had to submit to God and go very low with God when he was in a time of testing. And so he went down with God, but he kept his eyes on the Lord as well. And God brought him right back up too. And I think I was captivated by the idea that the forgiveness Joseph had for his brothers, it didn't happen that day. Joseph forgiving his brothers happened long before they showed up at his door. Joseph had a lot of heart work to do with God long before he got here. By the time his brother shows up and he has an emotional reaction and he expresses his love for them and this reconciliation, this is the result. This is fruit of a lot of time working through this long before they showed up. So as soon as they express the safety for reconciliation and he's able to do that, there's no barbs, there's no weapons, there's nothing sharp. He's just there to forgive. And just thinking about that idea that him staying with God when he went low, him staying with God as he went through it, that's the only way a human heart would have that great of a response to this situation. And so I love the forgiveness aspect and the submission to God. One quote that I want to share with you, Spurgeon's commentary on this text, he was very astute. This is something he said looking at the idea where Joseph says, hey, you sold me, but God sent me. And looking at this really paradoxical idea that on one hand, the brothers are selling Joseph to slavery, and on another hand, God is sending Joseph beforehand. And if you ask, which one of those things is really happening? The answer is yes, both of those things are happening. And the viewpoint that's necessary is understanding that both of those things can happen, which is easy to do when we look at Joseph's story, harder to do when we look at our story. But here's what Spurgeon said about that. He said, man acts just as freely and just as guiltily as if there were no predestination whatsoever. And God ordains, arranges, supervises, and overrules just as accurately as if there were no free will in the universe. I love how God is so much bigger than our boxes. And I'm so grateful for the sovereignty of God to handle things. But God also gives us choices, responsibility, volition. And the brothers exercise that for evil. But God overruled it for good. And so I'm so grateful that the sovereignty of God covers the sinfulness of man. And God's in charge. And Joseph knew that. And that's a really encouraging thing. So my sermon title would be that God is greater than our ups and downs. The points that I would bring out would be one, forgiveness happens before that moment. Looking at the heart work that's required when I've been hurt to let go of my right to hurt back and to forgive. But then also, as I go through tough things, the next point would be looking at how God's in charge. And even if I'm being sold into slavery, God's sending me. God is always doing something, whether I know it or not. I'd probably connect over to Romans 8:28 through 32 as well, if you want to read that together as a family. I feel like that's a really applicable verse. And so my application for that would be for us to ask the Lord where our heart needs work. Where does my heart need to adjust? Are there situations that I'm not prepared for, that I can't move forward with God with because I haven't done the heart work? And then God's in charge. No matter what's going on, He's got it covered. That would be my application, to rest in that, to trust in that. Christians are to be a very cool, calm, collected people when it comes to navigating stressful situations in life. I fail at that all the time. But God has got it. And in the moments when my theology is correct and affects my behavior, I can say, God's got this. He's doing something. And Joseph even hinted at that. I'm sure his brothers were surprised when Joseph just laid down on them. Oh yeah, the famine's going to keep going for another 5 years. How did he know that? He was lockstep with God. He was doing what God had for him, which was really great. So This is it. This is the end of the videos that you'll get. If you'll notice in the liturgy, there's one more song. I'd like for you to close in worship as a group where you're at. And so you'll see the song listed next below in the liturgy there. And again, you get out of it what you put into it. So please participate in this. Look up Great is Thy Faithfulness. Nate went to a lot of work to put this together for us, and we're thankful for that. The next best thing to having Nate lead us in person is singing it together in our own homes, knowing that many others in our church are doing the exact same thing in their homes as well. So you'll see that last one. And when you're done, pick somebody to close your worship time in prayer, and then enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy a great day of Sabbath rest. I hope that the Lord blesses you because you're not able to go out and do a whole bunch of work, and you're able to get some rest and some time with your family and worship. And we will look forward to seeing you next Sunday.